Have you heard of the water cycle before?
In fourth grade.
Fourth grade, right? Fourth grade, it was a big standard in fourth grade. We're going to take it a step further from what you learned in the fourth grade. We're going to draw the water cycle today. You're going to draw the big categories. Let's start with some mountains. Draw your mountains. And then draw your ocean. And make sure that you leave some beachy area right here. Just like this. Make sure you're putting the mountains near the bottom of your page, not at the top of your page. You need the room for your clouds and stuff. One is called the water cycle. So what are we going to talk about? The water, right? And what do you think of when you hear cycle?
It rotates every time.
Goes around, right? Goes around. It repeats. Good job. All right. So first off that I want to show you is right here in the ocean. What do we have going on in the ocean? The sun comes out. The sun heats the water up. And then what happens? Evaporation. Does everybody remember evaporation from fourth grade? That's usually the one that everybody remembers. Evaporation is where the water comes up out of the ocean and goes up in where? Into the sky. Where does it go when it goes into the sky? Clouds. Draw your cloud. Label evaporation and draw your cloud. Make sure your clouds are above your mountains. Once it reaches the clouds, what does it turn into? The cloud becomes what? Condensation. Make sure you put condensation in your cloud. Yep, so evaporation, you're going up. You draw another line, it goes to what? The clouds, which is condensation. Draw another line where it turns into precipitation. What happens when the sun comes out?
Snow melts.
The snow melts, right? Where does it go?
Up to the clouds.
Down to the ocean.
Down to the ocean. And that's called runoff. And you can draw a little river also because this melts, rivers run into it, and you have runoff. It runs off of the mountains into the ocean or off of the land into the ocean. It eventually makes its way into the ocean. Right here, here's a new one that you need to know. I need you to draw some trees on your mountains or beside your mountains. You need some trees. That's what it is. Transpiration is evaporation. It just comes out of plants. Transpiration transfers out of plants. Transpiration. Write it down. Big word. Make sure you've got it labeled off your trees. Coming off your trees and your grass. Popcorn Pondering is the literacy strategy that was showcased in this lesson. We're going to do something that's called Popcorn Pondering. I love popcorn too, but this is a little different. What you're going to do is you're going to take your notebook. You're going to get in groups of 3. You're going to ponder a question, and you're going to talk about it, and that's why it's called popcorn, because you're going to go, the next person's going to go, and the next person. You all must talk. You all must have a conversation. You're going to pick a leader that's going to report back something great that you came up with while you're talking. Your question is going to be, where does the water go? I want to know, take your notebooks and talk about it. Where does the water go? Popcorn Pondering was selected for this lesson because I needed to showcase a communication strategy to support 6th grade.
It's called evaporation. Doesn't head. The water starts boiling because of the sun, and it evaporates into the cloud. And then there's condensation. Yeah, I forgot what condensation is. All right.
After decondensation, it precipitation, and after precipitation, it transportation. Translates.
Okay. After precipitation, there is runoff and transportation is evaporation from plants. And that's it. What if we say it goes into the clouds and then condensation happens or something?
Well, actually, if there's too much condensation, precipitation happens. If it's too much, it can actually flood cities or towns.
If precipitation falls too fast, what happens is it will flood cities, and it could do many different types of damage and take it away, JV.
It can actually kill many, many plants if it gets too much water.
I think that's it. Popcorn Pondering assisted the science goals in the lesson by supporting the dialogue that is needed for sixth graders. It doesn't always come easy for sixth graders to communicate around content areas, and this strategy gave them a framework. Okay, start over for me. It goes from... Okay, so evaporates to the clouds. So then it rains on plants. Okay.
And then when it disappears, it evaporates back up.
So then it evaporates back up to the clouds. Okay? Does everybody understand what they said? Yep. So it recycles. That's a good word too. Ooh, I'm impressed, y'all. We got some good answers going on. So we could have too much water going on Earth. Okay, so water stays on Earth, pretty much is what you're saying, right? Or stays around? Okay. Ooh, somebody's been studying their vocabulary. Good job. So, well, I think we have a lot in common. And what is it that is in common? That water never goes anywhere. It just... I like the word you use. It recycles because it's the water cycle. I was surprised with Popcorn Pondering how well they used their vocabulary and their research skills and reviewed the content. They went back to their notebooks and reviewed their content and collaborated with each other and came up with great communications. So we broke off in other groups and we pretty much came to the conclusion that a water is a cycle. Why do you think they call it a water cycle? Because it keeps going around. And it doesn't matter if it comes out of the ocean or if it comes off of trees, what happens to it? It comes back down and it keeps circling around and it keeps circling around. Does it ever leave? No. Water never leaves, ever. I love the fact with the popcorn strategy that the students were able to explore their own thoughts and own ideas and come to a conclusion with each other, and it gave them the tools that they needed to be able to communicate with each other. It was hard for me to not talk and just to be the facilitator and not put my thoughts in, but they concluded and came up with great responses. So it proved to me that I needed to not be as much a leader as letting them lead.